Ever get that feeling like you just want to drop everything and just disappear?
I know what you mean.
Like, start a whole new life where no one knows you.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're looking into today, the story of Tsar Alexander I of Russia. This
Wow.
guy had all power, wealth, you name it.
Mm.
But then he just vanishes.
Hmm.
Poof. Gone. You sent in some seriously interesting research on this case, and we've got our expert here to help us figure this whole thing out.
Fascinating.
Did Tsar Alexander really fake his own death to get away from all the pressure? Or is there some other explanation?
Let's find out.
So what's really captivating about Alexander's story is this idea that maybe he just wanted a simpler life.
You know, that's a feeling a lot of people can relate to,
Well, yeah.
especially when you're carrying the weight of power and maybe some past regrets.
Totally.
It's a very human desire.
All right, so let's get to know Alexander a little better. What kind of person was he, and what was going on in his life that might have made him want to stage this grand disappearing act?
Well, Alexander became Tsar pretty young,
Okay.
and he had all these big ideas for Russia.
Oh, yeah.
He was a liberal, he wanted to reform things, make society fairer. He even thought about creating a constitution for Russia.
Whoa.
But, things didn't exactly go as planned.
Ah, I see.
He faced a lot of pushback from the nobles who liked things the way they were, and there were always threats of uprisings.
So yeah, governing's never easy.
No, it's not.
And our research mentions that Alexander may have even been involved in his own father's assassination.
Yes, that's a dark chapter.
How did that event affect him, do you think?
Oh, it definitely haunted him.
Yeah,
Imagine the guilt, the paranoia living with that secret.
it's heavy stuff.
It is. And it's easy to see how that kind of burden might push someone to seek peace and maybe even redemption.
For sure. And our research also talks about Alexander's growing interest in religion. He even came up with this idea of an internal church.
Oh, yes. That's really interesting.
Yeah, so what was that all about?
It was kind of his own personal form of faith, almost mystical, really.
Okay.
It went beyond the official Orthodox Church. He wanted a deeper spiritual connection, something beyond his position as Tsar.
So we've got a Tsar grappling with guilt, facing tons of pressure, and looking for comfort in his own unique way.
Right.
Then in 1825, he dies suddenly at the age of 47.
But the circumstances around his death are what really gets people talking.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's so strange about it?
Well, here's a man known for being healthy. Suddenly he gets sick and dies.
Oh.
The doctor's reports don't match up. The autopsy's delayed. They rush the embalming process, and then they have a closed casket at the funeral.
It's almost like they were trying to hide something.
It definitely raises eyebrows.
For sure.
These things were just not standard practice, especially for a ruler as important as Alexander.
And then this is where things get really interesting. 11 years later, this mysterious guy named Theodore Kuzmich shows up, looking a lot like the dead Tsar.
That's when the story takes a fascinating turn.
It really does. So here's this guy, choosing a hard life, living in isolation.
Exactly.
He would rather face punishment and exile than tell anyone who he really is.
It makes you think, what was he hiding?
Right. Why go through all that unless you've got something massive to keep secret?
Exactly.
And there's more.
There is.
There are all these clues that make you think Kuzmich is way more than just a simple monk.
Like what?
Well, for one, he knows a lot about life at court.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he remembers very specific things about the Napoleonic Wars. Battles, strategies, details that a regular person wouldn't know. And then there's this story about a Siberian girl who recognized him as Alexander's brother, and apparently his reaction was pretty intense.
Oh, wow.
Almost like she hit a nerve.
Right.
And then to make things even more suspicious, a young man thought to be Alexander's nephew, the future Tsar Alexander II, visits Kuzmich. The rumors just kept swirling.
You can see why.
It's like the people who knew Alexander best could see right through his disguise. But he was determined to stay silent.
He was committed to this new life, whoever he truly was.
It really is incredible.
And of course, we can't forget the cipher.
The what?
The cipher on his deathbed, Kuzmich, says, "Here lies my secret."
Whoa.
He was talking about a bag with coded papers in it.
Like something straight out of a movie.
Right.
So what do we know about these coding papers? Has anyone tried to figure them out?
Well, the cipher has been a mystery for ages. Some historians think it could unlock this whole case.
Wow.
Imagine if it's a confession or instructions or even his escape plan written out step by step.
I would love to know.
Lots of people have tried to crack the code, but so far no luck.
It's like Alexander wanted to give us clues but make us work for the truth.
That's an interesting way to put it.
But maybe this isn't just about solving some historical puzzle.
Oh.
What if it's about understanding why we humans do the things we do?
Okay.
This need to escape, to find meaning in our lives.
I like that. You've hit a really important point there.
Because whether Alexander actually faked his death or not, the fact that people are still so intrigued by his story tells us something.
Absolutely.
We want to believe that people can change, that they can escape even the toughest situations.
It's a powerful idea.
It's like a real-life fairy tale, only with huge consequences. We're
Yeah.
not talking about some random person wanting a simpler life.
No, we're talking about the Tsar of Russia.
The most powerful man in the country walking away from it all.
It's amazing.
So what do you think he was really searching for?
What do you think?
Was it just peace and quiet? Or was he looking for something deeper, like redemption for things he'd done in the past?
That's a great question. It's hard to know for sure, of course.
Yeah.
But the fact that he chose to live as a humble monk, dedicating his life to prayer and service to others, that says something.
Yeah, you're right.
He wasn't just trying to hide.
He embraced a life of hardship.
He really did.
It's mind-blowing to think that someone with so much power could find peace in such a simple life.
It is. And if he was looking for redemption, that just adds another layer to this already complex story.
And let's not forget the political side of things.
Right?
If Alexander was alive all those years, it means his successors weren't actually the rightful rulers.
That's a huge implication.
Do you imagine the chaos that would have caused?
Absolutely.
People questioning the legitimacy of the throne? Challenges to power? Russian society would have been turned upside down.
It would have been a complete upheaval.
Makes you wonder if maybe that's why someone tried to bury the truth.
It's possible.
And it makes you think how differently things might have gone if Alexander's secret had come out.
History could have been very different.
All right, so to recap, we have a Tsar who might have faked his death,
Right.
a mysterious monk with a hidden past,
Yes.
clues scattered everywhere.
And a cipher we can't crack.
So many unanswered questions. What does it all mean? What can we learn from all of this as we try to piece this puzzle together centuries later? We'll tackle those questions when we come back. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about the possibility that Tsar Alexander I might have actually faked his own death and lived out his life as this mysterious monk Theodore Kuzmich.
Right.
And the question we left off on was, how could he have possibly pulled it off?
Yeah.
It just seems so incredibly elaborate.
It would have taken a lot of planning, for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of loyalty from the people close to him.
His inner circle.
Exactly. Imagine loyal doctors and attendants people sworn to secrecy, maybe even a different body in the coffin.
Ooh.
Some people even think he might have escaped on a British ship in the middle of the night.
That's like something out of a movie.
I know, right?
Okay, but what about that cipher he left behind?
Ah, yes.
What do we know about those coded papers, and has anyone ever been able to decode them?
Well, the cipher has been a puzzle for centuries. A lot of historians think it holds the key to solving this whole mystery.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. What if it contains a confession or instructions or even a detailed account of his escape?
I would love to read that.
I know, me too. People have tried to decipher it, of course, but so far the code has been unbreakable.
It's like Alexander wanted to leave us clues, but he didn't want to make it too easy for us to figure out the truth.
Right.
You know, it makes you think, what if this isn't just about solving a historical puzzle?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's about trying to understand human nature?
Oh, okay.
This desire to escape,
Mm.
to find some kind of deeper meaning in life.
You know, you're right.
Yeah.
You've hit on something really important here. Whether Alexander actually faked his death or not, the fact that people are still so fascinated by his story tells us something.
About ourselves.
Exactly.
We want to believe that change is possible.
Yes.
That people can escape even the most difficult situations.
It's a powerful idea.
Yeah, and it's like a real-life fairy tale, but with real-world stakes. Because we're not talking about just some ordinary person wanting a simpler life.
Right.
We're talking about the Tsar of Russia,
The most powerful man in the country.
walking away from it all.
It's incredible.
So what do you think was he really searching for?
It's hard to know for sure, but
Yeah.
the fact that he chose to live as a humble monk, dedicating himself to prayer and helping others, it suggests something.
About what he valued.
Exactly. He wasn't just hiding pretty. He truly embraced this life of hardship and solitude.
Yeah, and it's mind-blowing to think that someone who had that much power could find peace in a life that was so simple.
It is. And if he was truly seeking redemption, well, that just adds another layer of complexity to this story.
Totally. And we
Um,
can't forget about the political side of things either.
Oh, right.
Because if Alexander was alive all those years, that means his successors weren't the legitimate rulers.
Right.
Can you imagine the scandal?
Oh, yeah.
People questioning the legitimacy of the throne, challenges to power.
The whole system would have been thrown into chaos.
Makes you wonder if that's why someone might have tried to keep it all a secret.
Yeah, to protect the stability of the country.
And it also makes you wonder how things might have turned out differently if everyone knew the truth.
History could have been completely different.
So, okay, to sum it all up, we have a Tsar who may have faked his own death,
Uh-huh.
a mysterious monk with a hidden past,
Right.
clues scattered everywhere, and a code that no one can crack.
It's a real head scratcher.
It is. So what can we learn from all of this? What does it all mean?
That's the big question, isn't it?
So we've been digging into this wild story of Tsar Alexander I, a ruler who might have just decided to disappear, trade all that power for a simple life as a monk.
It's pretty amazing.
We've looked at the evidence, the different accounts, all the whispers of conspiracy, but it seems like we're ending up with more questions than answers.
But that's how it goes with historical mystery sometimes.
Yeah.
The ones that really grab us are the ones that don't have easy explanations. And, in a way, the mystery makes it even more interesting.
Totally.
It lets us fill in the blanks ourselves, come up with our own interpretations, try to make sense of it all.
It's like we become detectives ourselves, going through all the clues, trying to piece together the story from these little bits of history.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's so captivating about Alexander's story. It's not just about him. It's about these bigger questions it makes us ask.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Like, what is power really? Why do people want to escape? How do we find meaning in our lives?
Ooh.
What does it even mean to be who we are?
You're right. Alexander's story, whether it's true or not, it's like a mirror.
Oh, interesting.
It reflects our own desires and what we believe.
Yeah, I see that.
Some people see it as a story about redemption, about a man trying to make up for his mistakes. Others see it as a brilliant escape, a disappearing act. And then some see it as a tragedy, a man weighed down by his own guilt.
Wow. It's amazing how this one story can be interpreted in so many ways.
It is.
It really shows you the power of history to capture our imagination, to make us question what we thought we knew. And even though we might never know for sure what really happened, I think just exploring it has been really rewarding.
I agree completely. By digging into this mystery, we've learned so much, not just about Alexander's time as Tsar, but about 19th century Russia in general. We've seen what life was like at court, how complex religious beliefs were, and how humans have always been drawn to power and also to escaping from it.
It's fascinating. And we've uncovered some amazing details. The strange circumstances around Alexander's death, the appearance of that mysterious Theodore Kuzmich, all those clues scattered throughout his later life, and of course that unbreakable cipher that still has historians stumped.
Right. It's like Alexander left this trail for us, but made it really hard to follow.
And maybe that's the best part of it all. History isn't just a bunch of facts. It's a living thing, always changing as we discover new things and rethink old ideas.
Exactly. We're always digging up new evidence, looking at things from different angles, debating what it all means, even though it happened so long ago.
So to our listener out there, the mystery of Tsar Alexander I might never be solved, but the journey of trying to figure it out has been amazing.
For sure.
It's made us question what we thought we knew about history, and it's reminded us that the past is rarely black and white. It's full of shades of gray. It's also made us think about what it means to be human, the allure of power, the desire for a simpler life.
Those are big questions.
They are. And maybe most importantly, it's reminded us that history isn't just a list of names and dates. It's a story, a captivating narrative full of mystery, intrigue, and possibilities.
It's a story that keeps unfolding as we learn more.
So keep asking those questions, keep exploring, keep looking for those hidden truths that are buried in history. You never know what incredible things you might find.
Exactly.
And join us next time for another deep dive into a topic that will make you think and leave you wanting more. Until then, happy exploring.